So a fellow asked me the other day, he says, DW, got a question for you. And I'm like, oh boy, here it comes. Because I, a couple weeks ago, uploaded a couple of my thoughts and theories about Sasquatch. And I thought he was going to be another, ridiculous troll. But he actually asked me a question that made me go, huh. And that is, are Sasquatch actually the Nephilim? And I thought to myself, well, if my theory is correct, it's possible. My theory is, of course, that Sasquatch or Bigfoot is a remnant of a civilization of humans, which is confirmed in DNA, because the DNA says that they are mostly human with a couple abnormalities that we can't specifically identify. Well, what does that mean? Who knows? And it is a proven fact that if you have a group of people isolated in their own little bubble for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, they're gonna create their own genome and perpetuate it. It's just the way science works. And I'm looking at this question, and really the only way I can answer it is if we define both creatures. Now, the Nephilim is mentioned in the Bible and in different ancient texts. They're not really given a lot of details. It's saying that they're very large. They're giants, fallen angels. They're basically really big, scary dudes. Now, biblically, in the Bible, of course, angels don't breed, but we don't know what the difference is. If a fallen angel comes to earth, they're not angels anymore, so maybe they do. Of course, the fallen angels and things like that happened before the flood in Genesis, so they would have to be on the ark or they'd be destroyed. Well, which is easily explained because Noah had, 3 sons and their daughters, and I think one of them was a Nephilim, something like that. They could have easily gotten on the ark, escaped the flood, or, if you don't believe in biblical things, somehow escaped the last ice age. Either way, it still works. Now, they are capable of mating with humans, which brings up the question, well, if they're Bigfoot or Sasquatch, are they capable of mating with humans? Well, you gotta wonder. There's a lot of people kidnapped out west. They find them like 3-5 miles later in the middle of nowhere. I kind of have a theory about that. I think that if a Sasquatch were to breed with a human, they would be probably just normal enough to fit in. You think? I mean, you shave a Sasquatch, you're still going to be a huge, terrifying, shaven man. What if, just even one generation? Yeah, interesting. Now, the Nephilim were considered destroyed. People think of them as basically a bygone people group. The thing is can you really completely destroy remnants of a people group? I mean, you'd have to hunt them down everywhere. When people are freaked out, they're going to tear off in every single direction they can and hide. I mean, it's really not possible to destroy an entire culture. I mean, there's still, people that claim to be Aztecs living down there in the Yucatan. So you can't tell me that there isn't a remnant of the Nephilim left. I mean, they just must live underground. Well, that's what the Sasquatch do, so that actually makes sense. Now, the Nephilim are associated with the sons of Enoch, which I guess they're living along the Mediterranean. They were so feared and so hated. They were constantly being attacked because people were just freaked out by them. So what do you do when you're constantly being attacked? Well, you pack up your bags and head north, because, you know, southern Russia, things like that. I mean, there's 100 million places to hide. Half of them us humans haven't even figured out yet. There are mountain ranges up there in Russia that haven't even been named. I mean, it's amazing. So all of this compiling up, you got to think, okay, well, Sasquatch, what's really the definition of them? Well, they're obviously giants. They're very big, flat-footed people that have, I believe, a higher intelligence. They regularly use, you know, tactics against us to deflect us from where they don't want us to be or where they want you to go. I mean, you know, it's just like I said in my other video. If you and your kids and your family were over there to the left, and you know that your enemy, which is humans, you know that we're very curious and we're going to probably follow you, it would make sense that you would bank right, you know. And this is recon. This is deflection techniques. You know, Sasquatch has done this on many occasions, and believing that they are a remnant of a ancient civilization really isn't that far-fetched, because, you know, there were giants. They looked different. They scared people, and maybe they just thought, you know what, forget this. We don't need normal society. We just do our own thing up in the woods somewhere. And they perpetuated a genome for 2,000 years, and today we have Bigfoot. I mean, is it plausible? You know, gosh, fellas, I don't know. I don't see a lot of videos on YouTube that really go out of their way to connect the two. Personally, I don't see why not. I would love to hear some comments, some suggestions. I don't even care if you debunk the idea. I just think it's interesting enough to look into, because apparently at some point the Nephilim are supposed to come back. Now, seems to me that a dead people group that's different than us, you know, isn't going to come back if they're really dead. There's got to be a remnant. There has to be, especially if they're going to come back near the end times and do whatever they're going to do. So I'm going to ask the viewers a question. Now, do you think it's possible that the people group, tall, scary people group known as the Nephilim, that were historically defeated, remnants driven north, perpetuating their genome for, you know, thousands of years, do you think it's possible, or even probable, that these people became what we know today as Bigfoot? They are clearly human with, of course, genetic anomalies, whatever that means. They're just very far removed from us, you know, perpetuating their own little genome, which would make sense, because there are different Sasquatch tribes in different areas. Some are more aggressive than others. That's been documented. They all basically use the same recon tactics. I believe that they know us better than we know them, and as long as we keep thinking that these people are apes, then they have the upper hand. Because as long as we're going to look for an ape, we're never going to find a Bigfoot, because they're not apes. I don't know how much you know about spiritual discernment and things like that. I just, in my gut, I just don't believe that there's an animal out there. I believe that this is a lost remnant of humanity, which isn't particularly far-fetched. There are, you know, tribes being discovered every now and then with strange, genetically DNA genomes going on that we haven't really categorized yet, and scientists will walk into a village, take a couple blood samples, and just add it to their dossier. Maybe it's that simple. Here's another question for you about Bigfoot. They say, well, they've never found a body and things like that. Well, what if they have? I mean, seriously, folks, if you dropped a body of Bigfoot right in front of a scientist, and the scientist looks that body over and says, well, that's a very large, hairy man, and genetically comes up mostly human DNA, he says, well, there's other bits in there. Maybe he had a disease or something. It's not really my field. I'm a scientist. I'm not into diseases. I mean, I don't know. As far as people being disappearing in parks and things like that, I don't know. I mean, it says all of the theories of the Nephilim say that they can mate with humans. Okay, sure, they're huge creatures, but they can mate with humans. My other video, more than implies, basically says that Bigfoot is capable of merging in our society. Still very different looking, but just close enough to pull it off. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on this, and the person that asked me this question initially was afraid to be associated with Bigfoot because, heaven forbid, somebody will think that he's nuts. Well, I don't know. I don't care. I'm not a YouTuber. I couldn't possibly care less if you follow me or not. I post videos that I like or that I think I'm going to use for my blogs or something like that. So, what do I care? It's fine. It's fine. So, so I'll try to answer the question. So, are Nephilim and Sasquatch the same people group? The best answer I can give is it is possible. I don't see contradictions. I don't see any contradictions. And when you're reviewing all of the information, you come to a conclusion that, you know what, folks, maybe we're looking at this all wrong. We're looking for apes instead of people. We're thinking that they're some kind of strange animal and not an offshoot of humanity itself. Well, that's just something to think about. I'd love to see a response video if you guys can come up with anything else you think is interesting, or even some proof, or hey, like I said, debunk me. I don't care. Then at least I know the truth, because the truth is out there, and the government and science isn't going to tell us what it is. So if somebody can come up with something better, more power to you, buddy. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to try to answer all the questions that I get, whether it be private like this one or in the comments below. I just think it's important that we figure this out. I'm not even sure why, but I just think it's important that we do. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful day. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.